with dreaming with God, some people are just like, well, I dream. Like I dream about stuff. I just kind of come up with ideas and stuff like that and write them down for my business. What do you mean when you say dreaming with God? Like, how is that different from me just saying, well, I'm just dreaming about my business? What's the difference?
I think the great difference is being able to sit and hold space with the Father to where you're being very intentional on dreaming with Him. And you're reserving some time. You're pretty much locking out everything else to sit in this space with Him to get real clear on what His dreams for your life look like, what His dreams for your business look like, and how those dreams shift. And they shift you, they should shift your business, and they should always be so much bigger than you, because we dream. And the Bible is clear. It says in Acts that now unto the God who's able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask, think, or imagine. So that's what anything we can dream. Can you imagine that His dreams for us are so much bigger than that? And God doesn't dream on small scales. And how do we know this? It's just because we're living proof of God's dream. If you didn't know that and didn't know this, I'm telling you now, you are God's dream manifested on the earth. He dreamt you up. He didn't just dream me up on January, 6th of 1960 something. The dream for me didn't start there. He knew me way before then. So when He laid the foundations of the earth, when He was dreaming of what earth would look like, the plants, the animals, the zebras and elephants and koalas and all the stuff that He personally knew that I would love, like beaches, Aruba, the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, He knew in His mind that, oh, she's going to like this stuff too. So let me add that into the dream. I was part of the dream. You were part of the dream. From before the foundations of the world, He was dreaming about us. So we have to be able to engage with the Father on that level of dreaming, so that we're not living haphazardly from, dare I say, fantasy to fantasy. Because
Mm.
sometimes our dreams are really just fantasies. That's truth. And um, the difference between a dream and a fantasy is that we can live in a perpetual state of fantasy. Okay, I dream of winning the lottery. And Shae knows this. I talked to you about it, girl. One day when I hit the lottery, but the reality is that's a fantasy. I live in Las Vegas. In Nevada, we don't have the lottery. And I don't go to the casinos to gamble. So every time I say, I'm just going to win the lottery, that's a fantasy. I have to actually leave Nevada to go to Arizona or California to even get a lottery ticket. And when you start thinking about the gas, the mileage, the time, I'm really not going to be going up there every other day to get a lottery ticket. That's a fantasy.
Right.
And so sometimes we have these things that we think are dreams, but they're really fantasies. And a fantasy will lull you and just allow you to stay there and rock yourself in that false state of belief. But a godly dream will ignite and activate something in you so intense that you are compelled to get up and do something about it.
Wow. That's good. That's good. One of the things that I was doing differently this time than what I've done in the past was I was so I see stuff, so since I tend to be visual, I'm like, okay, so God, I it's like I was inspired by a quote. I took a picture of a page in a book that I had read about Harriet Tubman, about the prophetic journey of Harriet Tubman, and I had sent it to you. And in that book, it was describing how she would have these dreams where she had an aerial view. It was like she was above what was going on and she could see from a different perspective.
Yes.
And so what I've been doing this time is it's like I want to see from an
Yes.
aerial view, from your perspective, I want to see what's happening 2025, which you told me is now it's really 2023. But I want to see, what does that look like? And when I took that perspective, it was actually it was different. It was coming from a different place. Because now I'm asking Him to give me His point of view concerning the thing, right?
Yes.
Not just coming out of, oh, well, this is the desire of my heart. I mean, I did some of that stuff too. Like, I'm a passionate storyteller. And so I'm going to be telling God stories for the rest of my life. So some of that stuff is it's just it's just who I am, and I just want to
Yes.
express that, right? But there was other things that really aren't like the things that if I were writing it, this is what it would look like. But from his point of view, I could see
Mhm.
myself doing some stuff that was like, huh, that's really interesting. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have designed it that way, but I know that's completely in line with your heart and your purposes. And so I say yes to that. And I don't even know
Yes.
what it looks like. And I can't create a blueprint, a 10-page plan of action items for how to get from here to there either. But I have to stay really close to you on this thing to see what that path looks like. So it's been interesting because there's some things that I can take these implementation steps with, but there's other things that there's so, it's like I wouldn't even know how to begin to say, here's my implementation plan for that, right? So I have to
Yes.
stay close to the Father to say, okay, when does that start? It does look, and what is my role in this thing? So it's
Yes.
been like for
Yes.
me that some things were easier than others to try to say, okay, this looks like a logical next step for this, or this is what we're doing this part already, but I believe that he's leading us to do this on top of that, and that
Mhm.
could be a path towards it. So speak to that if you could.
And I love that because first I want to say this because you said how there are things that are just in your heart. And so there are times that we have very natural dreams, and they don't necessarily have to come from heaven, like God saying, I want you to dream this
Yes.
dream, Shae Bynes.
Why are you using my government name though?
Because I'm serious. It's so, but it's those things that are in our hearts because he gives us the desires of our heart. So
That's
we
right.
have these desires in our heart that we get to live them out. And it's like, and I think how when we dream with God and we partner with him for the big things, I think he loves for us to then walk out the things that we're capable of walking out, because he gets to partner with us and like walk with us in it. And he's so proud of us. Like, look at my daughter, she's doing this, she's doing this. And she doesn't even know that she's like, when, Malia started to walk, it's like, okay, we're holding her hand. Like, oh my gosh, she's taking a step. She's taking a step because it's innate within her to want to walk. It's natural for a child to want to walk. And so we get excited when they walk, and they're walking, they're living out their dreams of walking and then running. And they have no idea because we see the bigger picture of where they're running into. And they're running into something so big that we've even dreamt of us. That's how God is. And so he partners with us on those level of dreams. Like he's holding our hands saying, look at my daughter go. She's so awesome. She's cute. Look at her. And so then we have those times when we do have those aerial views. And that's one of my favorite ways to dream is from that plane. And so getting to dream from that level with God first of all, it's exhilarating. And I think it allows us to tap into a greater awareness or knowing of who God is.
Yeah.
And we get to see him bigger. And so when we see our dreams bigger and we see them from heaven's perspective, what it does for me, and I hope what it does for you, and what it does for others, is that it causes us to run so much deeper into him.
Yes.
And it just creates so much more intimacy with him, because we just want to long to be at his feet to say, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? And it's like, God, I don't want to do this without you. It's impossible to do it without you.